Hey everyone, welcome to our Garden Live meeting this evening. So it's Paul here.
So good to be back with you all.
Yeah, super stoked to have my dad back with us. Can't wait. He's actually going to share a little update from their time in Africa. And hey, welcome everyone. I see Chris, Lucy, Carolyn's on here. Great to see all of you. Quick little introduction as we start off. We've got a big event today. Literally, we are revealing, I think, the biggest update of our gardening community membership, our family, since we launched back in 2013. So this is really huge, and you're gonna be able to see it. So as we begin this evening, for anyone that is just joining us here for the first time, you maybe are a new member, I'll just give you a little rundown of how this works. We encourage you, as you probably are seeing in the chat already, encourage you to introduce yourself as you come in. There's a chat room you can type in there. And so just let us know that you're here, that you can hear us, where you're from. Hey, Ken, Sherry, Eulity, Bonnie, great to see you. Hey, Dave, awesome to see you on here too. So yeah, introduce yourself, and it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of interaction throughout our whole live meetings. So then how this works is, what we do is we're going to start out with a little update of what's happening in our lives. Dad is going to share a little bit of what's been happening in Africa, just very short, couple minutes. Then we're going to show a little video of our garden here, but you're not going to want to miss, right after that, we are going to do our big announcement. And that is launching this biggest update that we have ever done since the beginning of launching Born to Grow back in 2013. And it's the launch of some 5-minute click and drop gardening calendars that are just going to revolutionize the way that you garden. I know it's going to revolutionize the way that we garden already. I'm super excited about it. Hey, Jean, Leslie, Susan, Rebecca, Martha, great to see you. Carolyn, Nadia, Sylvia, great to see all of you on here. Hey, Carol from Florida. Hi, Pavel. Good to see you as well. Fantastic. Cynthia,
we're really
Washington.
About the calendar. I'm just saying we're really excited about this calendar. And, Paul was saying it's the biggest thing we've done. So we even wonder if it might supersede what we've done already.
Yeah, no joke. I think that it really, it takes it not just to the next level, it takes it like out of the ballpark of what we've been doing. So we're super excited to show you. So why don't we jump in without any further ado and jump in, and we'll start out. Dad, why don't you share with us just briefly, a couple minutes? I know you've got a few pictures here to show us. For those of you that haven't been on our recent live meetings, my dad was just recently over in Africa and was doing some agriculture-related projects there. Excuse me. Working with some refugees and stuff like that. So I know we have more people rolling on right now, so let's just do that quick little update. Maybe you want to pull up those pictures, Dad. Then I'll show a quick little update from our garden here as well.
Okay.
Just got to get some water.
So we were in Sudan. And for those of you who aren't so familiar with your geography, Sudan is a country directly south of Egypt. The Nile River passes through Sudan on its way to Egypt. And as you can imagine, knowing where it is in connection to Egypt, it is mostly a desert country. And we had the privilege of living there in the last half of the 80s. So that was almost 30 years ago. And as a matter of fact, Paul was born there.
Yep, I was born there.
So while we were there from September through December, the first part of December last year. And it was really special to go back, and we got to visit old friends, people that we'd known back when we were there before, and go to visit old places that we'd been. And we actually lived for 3 years up on the Nile in a little town that was 10 hours across the desert, or sometimes 12 hours across the desert, just sand tracks. And we got to go back there, and there's a paved road there now. And it was just very, very special to go back. But one place I really wanted to see is that while we were working for ADRA, the Adventist Development and Relief Agency, and there was a project that I wasn't connected with directly. We had a well drilling crew, and they were drilling. They started drilling some wells in a place called Njarwasir, and it was on the way across the desert up to where we were on the Nile in the north. And I've heard stories about what happened afterwards. That there was just 1 or 2 wells drilled while we were there, but and it was just in the middle of the desert. You can see this is a picture of the place, what it looked like then, and what it still looks like now, except that some wells have been put in, and there's actually farming taking place. These people were nomads, and at that time in the mid 80s, there was a big famine across North Africa, and a lot of these nomads, their animals died, and they couldn't live in the desert anymore. And so the idea was, if there was water not very far beneath the desert here, and so the idea was, if we drill wells, we can settle these people back in their homeland, but they won't have to be dependent on their animals. They can do farming, and that's what happened. And these nomads came back, and we put in a few wells, but as soon as they saw what could happen, they scraped together money and put in more wells of their own. And ADRA actually put in quite a few wells, I think about 20 wells or more in the end. But this is what it looks like now. It's just the gardens in the desert. This is sorghum growing here.
That's amazing.
Somehow my computer's not advancing.
Could try using.
This is wheat. So this was in November, late November. They had just planted this wheat.
Wow.
The way we normally plant it, it has to be irrigated. So they're doing it like this. And then they're not just growing grains though, but these are vegetables. This is okra. Sorry, I had the Arabic word bamia on my lips. You can see an irrigation canal here. By the way, that was really spiny okra. I felt sorry for them. Yeah. And then they're also growing fodder. This is alfalfa or berseem clover that they're growing for fodder. These are 2 of the farmers, and that hedge of bushes is pigeon peas, and then the red here to the left of them is karkade, and that's what they call it in Sudan. That's what it looks like. Most of you might be more familiar with it as hibiscus. Like if you get a red zinger tea, the red color in that usually comes from this hibiscus, or it's also called roselle commonly. So the flower, it's not really the flower, it's the calyx, but it's very succulent, and they dry it. It has a very tart flavor, and it produces a very tart, beautifully red drink. It's great cold or as a tea. Very high in vitamin C. And this man here is he's a local sheikh. We just enjoyed talking with him for a little bit. So that was just tremendously exciting to me to go back there and see what has happened and how these people's lives have been changed.
Yeah, that's just awesome, Dad. I love it. And for all of our, all of our members on here, I just wanted to we want to give you a little touch and a taste that, you are a part of something much bigger than just Born to Grow. We're committed to spreading the knowledge of agriculture and helping people around the world with their gardens. Love it. Fantastic. Yeah. So real quick, I'm going to pull up our little garden update. It's very short, just a few minutes here. And then we are right after that, we're going into the big announcement of our gardening calendars. So stay tuned. Let me play our little garden update here. Hey everyone, welcome back. And it's our January garden update here in Virginia. And we've still got some stuff alive in here. So we'll give you a quick little rundown. In fact, it's been pretty cold here. We've gone through a pretty cold spell. It's been down low temperatures. And so some of our plants have taken a little bit of a hit here. If you actually look outside, you can't really see through the plastic here, but the snow, we just got a little bit of snow, like 2-3 inches of snow the other day. And so it's chilly, but the cool thing is that we got some good veggies that we can harvest today. So here we still haven't harvested all of our beets. Some of them, we can probably harvest some of them today. There's some decent sized ones. Our Swiss chard has taken a little hit with all the cold, but look, these leaves are still good. We can harvest those and have some Swiss chard. Our lettuce is done. Most of it has been taken out. This little straggler needs to be taken out for sure. And then down here, look, our spinach is doing well. We're gonna harvest our spinach today. And we've got our kale down here. Here's our curly kale. It's looking good. Our collards really are doing like the best out of everything, pretty much. Look at these beautiful collard leaves. So that's exciting. Here's our red kale. And some of the plants have just completely fallen over. We're not sure exactly what happened with them. If they just got top heavy and fell over, or if been affected by the, I don't think the freeze would do it. I think it's just like getting too heavy or something. Then we got our red and white Russian kale, and their leaves have gotten a little wilty. The ground is still moist, so it shouldn't be a watering problem. I think that it's just they've taken a little bit of a hit to the cold. But we'll harvest some of those, and then finally, you remember we harvested our broccoli. We actually took those plants out, and our cabbage is just hanging in there. We're just gonna wait for, that cabbage will probably be good come springtime when it starts growing again. And hopefully it grows a nice head. So, hey, we're gonna jump in and harvest some veggies here. Okay, so I'll show you real quick what we got here from our garden. So we've got some beautiful red kale here, and some red and white Russian kale, so that's going to be real great. In the box here, we've got a whole bunch of collards, some curly kale as well. It's going to be lots of fun fixing that up. We've got our spinach here, have some nice salad, and we picked a few of our beets. So we're looking forward to some fresh veggies in January. Hey, we'll catch you back in the training. All right, so there you go. You got to see what's happening in our garden there. And All right, looks like we are back on and going. Fantastic. So, are you ready for the big announcement? You know, as we have been gardening and growing our own food, you know, there are some things that we face as challenges as gardeners. And one of those is that, you know, it can be a little overwhelming sometimes planting your garden. You don't know exactly when you should plant everything. And you're sometimes flying by the seat of your pants. You don't know what varieties to pick and all of that. So we have just been looking at like the challenges that we face as gardening and how can we overcome those. And we've come up with a tool that makes growing your own food that we believe is going to make growing your own food ridiculously easy. Like so easy that you could literally plan your garden in just a few minutes, have basically a checklist of what to do each week. And not only that, but right connected with it, seamlessly tied into our membership, telling you exactly how to do it and everything. So here is the drum roll as we launch these gardening calendars. And let me pull up, hold on just a second. I'm going to pull up a screen here so that you can see. Here we go. So drum roll and boom. So announcing our brand new beta 5-minute click and drop gardening calendars. We are just launching these out right now. And like it says on this page here, it's the ridiculously easy way to plan your entire growing season without spending hours trying to calculate your days to maturity or dealing with complex spreadsheets and all of that. And as one of our members right now, these are here for you. And so it's not, you get them as part of the membership. We're not gonna, we're not charging you anything extra to get access to these calendars or anything like that. These are yours as part of the membership, as long as you come in with us as a beta user, because like I said, these are just launching brand new, and they are in the beta stage right now. So how many of you want to see what one of these calendars looks like and how easy it is to plan your garden with one of them? If you want to see what they look like and jump in and actually go through it, just type yes in the chat. Awesome. Yes, Lucy says, I do. So what I'm going to do, the plan is I'm going to open up one of these calendars. Fantastic. Got lots of yeses coming in. We're going to open up one of these calendars, and I'm going to simply walk you through exactly how this works and how you can use it. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you, we're going to give you the information of how you can get signed up for your own calendar, because these are rolling off the block right now. So what I am showing you right now is literally what you can start doing in just the next few days. So let me open up this calendar. So here is an example of the calendars here. And the very first thing that I want to do is I'm going to show you a little overview. And you know what? I'm going to turn off. Dad, why don't we both turn off our web cameras so that people can see the whole calendar? Yeah, perfect. All right, so we've got the whole calendar here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a little overview of the calendar, and we've built this on the TeamUp platform. It's a TeamUp calendar platform, and what's going to happen is you are going to give us your location, and then like you can see up in the top left-hand side here, this calendar is based off of the last frost date between April 9 and April 15. So what you're going to do is you're going to give us your location, the zip code where your calendar is located at, and then we will give you a calendar that is tailored for your location. So that way, because gardening is different in different locations and planting times are different, so you're going to get a calendar built specifically for your location based off of your last frost date. Then in the calendar area on the left-hand side here, there is a quick little it shows you a month in a glance, and you can jump forward. Like if you see, if I jump forward to April, it will change to the main area here. I'll just jump back to January. I'll give you a quick little rundown of the calendar area here, and then we'll go into the specifics of how you'll use it. Right underneath that is a list of all the different crops that you can grow here. And there's multiple plantings of the different crops as well. Like you can see here, for example, and I'm just gonna, zoom this in just a little bit more just to make sure that you guys can see it. So like, for example, with beets here, you've got beets 1, 2, and 3. So those are multiple plantings. We'll show you how those work in just a second. Down below that, there's a little filter area. We'll show you how you can use that. Plus quick links back to the training videos, and we put together some training videos for it as well. The main area of your calendar here is where you're going to be dropping in your planting schedules. And right now it shows we have a frost zone put into the calendar just so you can visually see when you can be expecting a frost during your year. And you can turn these on and off. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But right now it is set up at a whole year at a glance view. And so you can just see your whole year and see what's happening at a glance. Otherwise, in the top right-hand side here, you can switch to other views. Like you can view it by day or week or month, or you can do the whole year, or there's a list view as well. And we'll show you how that is super, super helpful in just a second here as well. So very first thing to go over is this frost zone here. And there's two here. You see there's one that says frost, and then there's one that says hard frost zone. The frost zone is going to be the time period throughout the year at your location where you can expect to have a frost. Now, of course, this is based off of averages. We can't control nature, so you may have frosts a little bit later or a little bit earlier. We do encourage you to keep an eye on them on both sides of the frost time here. But this gives you a pretty good range to keep in mind that, hey, this is my frost zone. And if you click on it, it comes up and it has a whole description about it, telling you in detail about the frost protection, and what you can do to frost protect your veggies during that time. The hard frost zone, we added that in because there's the core time in the winter for many gardeners, and we specifically build this hard frost zone 6 weeks before your last frost and 6 weeks after your first frost. We call it a hard frost zone because this is the most likely time where you're going to get hard drops, where the temperature drops to 24 degrees Fahrenheit or less. You may get hard frost before then. After then, we just if you want it, we want to make it available for you, just to keep it in mind that this is a time to be looking out for it. And once again, when you click on it, it'll open up and goes into much more detail. We even have a little guide here telling you how many layers of protection to use during that time. So that's just the frost zones. And you can come over to the left here and you can click on them. There are little buttons here. You just click on them and they turn on and off. So I'm going to turn the hard frost zone off just so that you can, as we go forward, it just keeps things simple and clean. So the really super exciting part of this, that was the quick overview of the calendar. Now, this is the exciting part. This is where you can start planning your garden, all right? And it's very simple. You're going to come down on the side here, and this is why we call it click and drop gardening calendars, because on the side, you've got all of your little plantings here, and I'm just going to do it as if I was planting the garden. So I want to decide what plants I want to grow. So let's say I want to grow beets. So I just click on the beets planting, and it drops it into my calendar, a whole planting schedule, telling me exactly when to seed them, when to prepare the beds for them, when to transplant the beets, when to cultivate. We give a couple cultivation reminders. Those are general ballparks. And then an expected time of harvesting those beets. And then, as you noticed in the side here, like I mentioned before, there's actually multiple plantings. We call these succession plantings. So you can actually grow multiple plantings of them, and watch this harvest area with beets number 1. If I drop beets number 2 in, you'll notice that beets 2 harvest comes right after beets 1 harvest. So you can extend your harvest by growing succession plantings of them. And so we make it super simple, just dropping in those succession plantings into your gardening calendar. Now, if you're a beginner gardener, we encourage you to just probably do 1 planting of each. If you're an intermediate, then you could do a couple, 2 or 3.
I might say if you're a beginner gardener, you might not want to do the first planting in the spring, for example, because it might be a little more challenging. Yeah. We tried to have one in there so that people who want to start early can do that.
Right, exactly. So you can see these are being seeded, you know, back inside the frost area here. If you turn that one off and turn beet number 2 on, you can see they're seeded much closer to when you're going to not be having a frost anymore. So that's how you click and drop them into your calendar. So you know, you can just go down and you can scroll down and click and drop the different crops you want in. Another thing that you can do is you can easily filter. There's a little filter section here, and maybe you have a list of things that you want to grow. So let's say you want to grow cucumbers. If you just start typing in cucumbers, it will come up with the cucumber plantings, and it filters out everything so you can just see the cucumber plantings. And then, for example, you can click on a cucumber planting. It will drop it into your calendar. You can say, okay, yeah, that's the one that I want to add. And then you come back and backspace it, and it brings back all of the other plantings that you had and adds the cucumber one in. So that's a great way to do it. Again, you can do like carrots, drop in your carrot planting that you want to plant. And let's say here, you'll notice on the left here, there's little folders, and this one says spring and summer. So these are your spring and summer crops. But then we also have fall and winter plantings. So we built this out to be a year-round garden planning calendar. So you can literally plan your garden year-round. So with these fall and winter plantings, you can drop those in, and you'll be ready to harvest carrots in the fall down here in October. See, this one harvests in October. So you can literally just plan your garden year-round. Once again, you backspace that, it brings back all of your other plantings plus the ones that you just dropped in. And if you ever want to, like on the side here, these little folders, they can collapse. So you hit the little arrow on the side, it will collapse it, and it drops down to, so now you can see the fall and winter ones. And so then you can just scroll down and look specifically at the fall and winter plantings. Or you can open it back up and show it again. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a few more in here, just as we are doing this demonstration, so you can see as we move along. So I'm going to add some corn, some collards, add some cauliflower. Why don't we add some eggplant in here as well? So now we've got a nice little garden coming along of plants that I want to plant. And you'll notice as you add them in, your main schedule here for the year begins to fill up with all of these different plantings, right? Here's the next cool thing about what we've done here with our gardening, with the gardening calendar here, and that is that each one of these individual tasks, these actions, you can actually click on them and it will pop up and give you a description, just like we did with the frost, giving you specific crop recommendations for that crop. Like, for example, this one is of collards, and it says this calendar is based off of growing collards with 60 days to maturity. There's a link, we give you a link out to our favorite varieties. For example, here with the collards, Champion is one of our favorite varieties. We give you seeding recommendations specifically for that crop. And then, once again, a little section on what to do, how to do it. It's just step by step, and then links to the demonstration videos in the membership. So you can just click on this link. It will take you straight over to our membership area where you can watch the videos. And I'm not logged in this browser, so you just log in and then it goes straight to those videos, right? So let me show you real quick I'm just going to go ahead and pull up. I'll just pull up the collard ones. Once again, like you can see with this little filter, it's really helpful if you want to filter just down to one. So I just showed you the seeding one. The same thing is with all of them. So with bed prep, it comes up, it tells you what to do, how to do it, link back over to the demonstration videos. Same with transplant. And in this one, you know, it gives you a quick reference telling you exactly how far apart to transplant your plants, how many rows to put in your bed, how many inches apart to make them, how far apart to plant the plants themselves. So you have at your fingertips, when you're ready to transplant them, you just click on it and it will tell you exactly what to do. And then the harvest ones, again, you can open those up and we give you specific harvesting tips for every single one of the different crops that we have listed here. So at any time and anywhere in this calendar, whenever you want to, you can click on any one of these actions and it will pop up with the detailed description of what to do and links back over to the training. So that's a really cool feature that really takes these calendars to the next level, because not only are you planning your garden, but then as you're using your garden and using that plan throughout the year, you have at your fingertips all of the instructions of how to do it, each one of those actions and those steps. Another really neat thing and that ties into the whole planning phase is the little filter down here on the left-hand side. You'll see at the bottom, there's this filter. And sometimes you may want to plan your garden based off of when you're seeding the crops. And you'll see how, you know, as your calendar fills up and all of these tasks and actions get dropped in, it can look like there's a lot going on, right? So you can actually filter it down and make it a little bit simpler by filtering down by the specific task or action that you want to see. So if you only want to see when all of these plantings and these crops that you've dropped in will be seeded, you can come down here and there's a little drop down. It says filter by sub-calendar. You drop it down and right at the top, there's these actions. It says seeding, bed preparation, transplant, cultivating, and harvesting. If I click on seeding, it will immediately take my whole plan and filter it down just to the actions of seeding. So now all I'm seeing here is when I'm going to be seeding, like for example, this is seeding my cabbage, collards, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, beets, corn, cucumber. What this is super helpful for is, number one, in planning your garden, you're going to want to pick seeding times that are after the current date that you're on. You know, it's not that helpful to drop in a planting schedule if the seeding was supposed to happen 2 weeks ago. You're already too late, right? But not to worry, that's one of the reasons why we have multiple plantings for the crops, because if you miss one, you can always try and catch the next one, right? So you want to drop in seeding times that are after the current date that you're on right now. The other really cool thing that this is really helpful with is to get a quick view of what's coming up soon and the seeds that you need to purchase coming up. So, you know, I'm in January, but let's say, hey, I want to make sure and get that I have the seeds that I need for February and March. You can quickly look and see what needs to be seeded in February and in March, and say you need to get some carrot seeds. So you open up the carrots here. You can even literally just come down and click over, like here it says, you know, some of our favorite varieties, like I was telling you before. You can just click that and it will take you directly over to some of our most trusted seed companies, and you can order them just right then and there, and make sure that you have the seeds for the crops that are coming up that you have planned in your calendar. So that's a great little way that you can filter based off of when you're going to be seeding each of your crops. You can do the same thing. I'm just going to cancel that one there. And you can do the same thing with filtering down of when each crop will be harvested. So the neat thing about this is you could plan your garden and you can plan it based off of when you can expect to be harvesting each of the different crops. And it's really fun just to look into the future and be like, oh, I know that in June I'll be able to be harvesting my broccoli, cauliflower, collards, and beets. There's a pretty good chance you'll be harvesting those then based off of the planting schedules that I have in the calendar. And that's a great way to plan ahead. For example, you know, excuse me. For example, you know, if you know that you're going to be gone in July, you might because you're going on family vacation or whatever, you can plan your planting schedules to have harvests before July and after July, and try and keep it slim during July. Or if you specifically want, if you're canning tomatoes, you can put in a tomato planting that is harvested at a specific time period that is the time that you'll have time to be doing your canning and stuff like that. So that's a great way that you can, again, just filter it down by the action. And in fact, you can even filter by multiple actions. Like I can put in harvest one there, I can add the seeding, and then it will only show me seeding and harvesting. So you can mix and match whichever ones you want. You can do transplanting, you can do bed prep. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what scenarios you'd want to filter just down for those, but hey, you might want to do it, and the option is there. So that's our little filtering part right there that just adds a whole another level into planning your garden and being able to see it at a glance. So, hey, what do you guys think? Something, I mean, this is really is taking it to the next level, isn't it? Great comments coming in. Thanks so much for you guys' feedback. I mean, that just really encourages us because we put a lot of time into this. We're working really hard to get these out for you. But it gets even better. Can you believe it? It gets even better than what I just showed you. So you just saw those were some major features right there, but it gets even better. And that is, we're going to come up and look briefly here. Well, let me look at my list here and see of the ones that I've gone through. Yep. So, okay, so we're going to look at our calendar views up at the top right-hand side here. So there's multiple different views that you can view your calendar in. You can view it by day, and you know what? I'm going to jump forward to April 16 here, and then I'm going to show you. So you can view it by day, and that will just give you like a list of the things that you need to be doing that day. You can view it by week, so you can see what's happening in the week. You can view it by month, so you can get a quick overview of your month. Of course, we were on the year view right there.
I just want to clarify that we set this calendar up by week. So the day view and the week view are probably not going to be too different from each other. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Exactly. Because what we've done is each one of these tasks lasts a week. So you have a week to get it accomplished. So you have a week to seed your cucumbers. You have a week to make sure you get your bed prepped and ready ahead of time. You have a week to transplant them. So yeah, exactly. That's good. I'm glad you jumped in with that, Dad. So yeah, the week and the day view, probably not going to be used as much. You might use the month view more. I would guess you'll use the year view a lot. But what's really exciting is the list view on the right-hand side here. And this list view basically just creates a list of what you need to be doing. And it's like a checklist. So what you can do is each week you can come back to this list view and it will give you a checklist of what you need to do that week. So for example, this week, I know I need to be direct seeding my corn, transplanting my beets. There's some reminders to cultivate my broccoli, cabbage, carrots. Those cultivate reminders, it's just a quick reminder, even, just to take a quick look at your garden, make sure it's cultivated, but specifically for those crops. And then, I can be expecting to harvest my collards during this time. So that gives a little checklist. If I go to the next week, the checklist changes, right? And I'll have a little checklist of what I need to be doing that week. And the next week, again, the checklist changes and I know exactly what I need to be doing that week. So each week, you know exactly what you need to be doing. And you'll see here, the due date is right before the actual task here. So if let's say I'm viewing this on Friday, April 19, it says this is a task that is happening all day, all the way through Monday, April 22. So I know that this task is scheduled to be accomplished by Monday, April 22. That's the due date that I know it needs to get done. So if I'm on Friday, then I know that I have until Monday to get it done. All right. So I'm really excited about that because it's going to take a lot of the guesswork out of gardening. I know that for me personally, just being able to have a checklist and know exactly what I need to do each week is just going to be an extreme game changer. It takes a lot of the overwhelm away. And once again, in all of these views, at any time, you can just click on one of the actions. It'll come up and tell you what to do with it. But it gets even better than that. So you've got all of these different views you can look at. You got the list telling you exactly what to do each time. But we've also built into this, and it's been hinted at already, but I'm going to show you just so you can see very clearly. We've also built into this tasks that you'll really want to do ahead of time. For example, one thing that's going to really make a difference in your garden is if you can prepare your beds ahead of time, especially with crops that are being direct seeded into your garden. So carrots is one that you often have lots of weed pressure with. And we've built into the calendar planning ahead so that you can prepare your bed ahead of time and do what we call a direct seed, not a direct seed, a stale seed bed, where you encourage a crop of weeds to grow, and then you kill off that crop of weeds before actually planting your crop in, and then your crop will get a huge head start on the weeds. So we've built that right into here. So for example, with these carrots, we have built in preparing your bed, for example, here on February 19, and then a stale seed bed on February 26, a stale seed bed on March 5, and then it's not until March 12 that you actually direct seed your crop in, and it's going to be a huge game changer for giving your plants a huge head start on the weeds. And what happens is oftentimes we don't think about planting our plants and seeding them until the time has come to seed them right then. And so this will be a huge game changer in giving you that little reminder ahead of time. Hey, carrots is coming up in several weeks. Now is the time to get your bed prepared if you really want to get the maximum benefit of getting a head start on the weeds. All right. Let's see. Let me just take these off here. And yeah, wow, we've gone over a lot, y'all. We've gone over a lot. Anything else, Dad, do you think that we should add in here? Anything that I missed?
I think it's a good overview. It's a lot of information. I think a lot of people are going to need to, they'll have a lot more questions once they start using it.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're here for you all. We're going to be, like I said, we're going to be giving you, I'm going to share with you a way that you can jump in and get set up with your calendar. And then I've already put together some training videos going over similar to what I've just gone through with you right now. So you can jump in and watch those training videos if anything didn't stand out to you right now. And then also, we're here to help you, right? You are our beta users coming on, and this is going out to our members first. Then we will be, opening it up for other beta users to come on as well. But this is going out to you guys first. You are the ones that you get the gold, you all. So let's see here. It looks like we've got some comments and maybe even some questions in here.
Paul?
Yeah.
Maybe we can just talk about getting feedback from them and show them how they can give us feedback.
Excellent. Yes.
Because you all are our beta users, and we've done this based on our own experience in our growing at our place, and using information that we can find available otherwise about other places. But we've done a lot of extrapolating to make the calendar, and we think we're not too far off, but we would like to really hone it in and refine it, and we need comments and feedback from you all.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, exactly. So yeah, great, Dad. I'm glad you brought that up. So with every single one of the tasks on here, we make this super easy to give feedback. With every task, you click on it, and right at the very top, there's a section that says give feedback. Help us improve. Click here to report your experience growing this crop. You're going to click there, and I actually haven't built out the feedback form yet. So it says your feedback is super appreciated. This feature is coming soon because it is coming soon. So we're going to have a feedback form that basically where you just fill it out and you tell us what calendar you're using, the crop you were growing, the experience you had, what adjustment you think should be made. And we're going to be taking in all of that feedback and really considering it highly for, adjusting these calendars, because really it's the people in the trenches using them that we want to actually, have that feedback going back in, because we want to tailor them to all of you. Absolutely. All right. All right. We got lots of questions coming in here. Lots of questions. So let's start going over some of these questions. What do you say, Dad?
Sure.
All right, so first question here is, I'm just going to go back. All right, this is just making sure that I'm not missing a question. Okay, Sherry says, is this printable? Absolutely, Sherry. Okay, so that's a feature that I didn't show you all yet. So I'm going to, again, jump up to April 16. We're going to go over to the list view here, and you'll be able to come and click this little button on the right here. It's a drop down, and you can say print or export a PDF. So you can open that up, and it'll pull up a PDF here that's built out of the calendar, and you can export it. There's some different options you can do, put on and off up at the top here. I think it by default comes with the little sidebar showing, which is not that great. So I'll just show you real quick how you can fix that. It'll by default come and, it shows this whole sidebar here. So you can actually just turn that off right up here and click refresh. And then you can print that off, and that can be your checklist. You can put it on your refrigerator, you can take it out to your garden, and then you can just check off those tasks as you do them for your garden. Another thing that you can do is you can change the date range here. So you can do this to be a 1 month date range, and you can group them by week. And then you could take that and, then you could go and you can print off your month's tasks grouped by week, right? And go and, excuse me, set those up. It gets a little bit more complicated. I'll try and do a training about that specifically in the future. Right now, the easiest is just to stick by 1 day and group by none, and it will show you exactly what you need to be doing for that day and when it's due. Great question, Sherry. Great question.
So what about the regular calendar view, Paul? Can that be printed?
Yeah, actually, you can take your year view here, and you can export that as a PDF too. Show you just a second. It starts looking kind of crazy here. I haven't played around with it, but here, look, it turns everything pink, it looks like. So you can print that off if you wanted to do that, but it might not be as useful. The list view is probably the most useful for actually printing something off. All right, Ken says, can we connect using our smartphones? And Ken, that is an absolutely excellent question. The way the calendar is set up, let me first tell you this. We have built these calendars using a team up calendar platform. So eventually we would really like to build out our own calendar web app and build out our own platform. There's going to be a lot of cost involved with that, just for the developers and all of that. So in order to get these out to you as soon as possible, we've built them up on someone else's platform called the TeamUp platform. So with that, there are some little drawbacks, and there are things that we have to work around. The first thing is that the calendar is mobile friendly, so you can access it on your phone, you can access it on your tablet, you can access it on your computer. It's very easy to use on any of them. The one thing that is a little bit challenging is that the calendar doesn't automatically sync between your computer and your phone and your tablet. So your special plan of the plantings that you've put into your calendar here, this gets stored on your local computer. So if I refresh this page, I'll just refresh it, and it comes back on with all of the plantings that I have planned out. If I took this same link and I opened it on my phone, it's not going to come up with all of these plantings. Now, there is good news, and that is once you have, so what we encourage you to do is to choose a master computer that you do all of your planning on. And we really encourage it to be a laptop or a desktop computer, possibly a tablet. But do use a master computer where you do all of your planning on, all of your edits, all of your changes. Like you say, okay, instead of growing beets number 2, I want to grow beets number 3. So that's a little edit to your gardening plan. So you do all of your edits on your master calendar. And then there is an option here where under the filter, there's a button that says share. If you click that share button, it creates a unique link up at the top here that links to your exact plan right here. So you can take that link and you can open it up on your phone, and it'll have your whole plan planned out. And then you can bookmark it on your phone, and you can use that throughout the season on your phone and on your other devices. So unfortunately, like I said, it doesn't sync in real time, but once you do have your garden planned on your computer, you will be able to share it to your other devices and use it on your other devices. And it's really great to be able to use it on your smartphone, because then you can just be right outside in the garden. You look at that list view, you know exactly what you need to be doing. So excellent question. All right, Chris says, when can we access? Good question, Chris. And the answer to that is that today I am going to share with you a link to get started. And that link is going to take you to a page where you can put in your zip code. You're going to give us your zip code, and then we're going to set you up with a unique link to your very own calendar, all right? It's going to be a unique link just for you, for your calendar. And as soon as we, and to tell you honestly, we have quite a few calendars already built out. So let me just pull up, I'll show you real quickly. For example, right here. So you can see here, for example, we have these calendars already built out. We've got like the last frost, March 12 to 25. Watch the little frost zones here as I go through. You'll see them move. April 26, March 26 to April 1, April 2 to April 8, 9 to 15, 16 to 22, 23 to 29, 30 to May 6. So as you can see, we already have a good number of calendars already put together and pretty much ready to go. And so, as you give us your zip codes, as soon as, if we've got a calendar ready for you, we're going to pull it together and give it to you as soon as possible, ASAP. And then the rest of those calendar dates, because we're moving out into people growing down in Florida that have very low risk of frost, all the way up to people that have frost risks, all the way in June. So we're continually building these calendars out. And so if you're on one of those extremities, I would say we should be able to have your calendar to you within the next couple weeks. We're just doing it as fast as we can. Great question, Chris. But we definitely have some that are pretty much ready to go right now. And if you're one of the lucky people that are in one of our calendar zones that are already done, then you'll be able to get them. Carol says, this is the sort of thing I did in my job, but not for a garden. Since I retired, I'm taking up gardening big time and really appreciate all the work that went into this. You guys are terrific. Thanks, Carol. Really appreciate that. All right. Javier has a question here. It says, could we add an item on the calendar if the item is not there? So if we want herbs, flowers, extend or add an extra beet planting. Great question, Javier. Right now, we do not have the option to add plantings in. So it does limit it a little bit. Like I said, we have, on the side here, we've tried to put in as many plantings as we can without making it overwhelming so that you'll have different options to choose from. Unfortunately, we don't currently have a way for you to add in your own planting or to edit the plantings that are there right now. We just don't have that functionality to be able to do that on the platform here. Now, we do have some herbs in here. We've got basil, cilantro, dill, and parsley. And when it comes to other things that you might want to grow, we are going to be taking feedback back from you all. And we want to, in fact, I would like to create a survey of other things that you would like added to the calendar in the future. We've got a base number of crops in here. I think it's over 35 already that you can just get up and running with right now. They're the major crops that people grow in their gardens. And then from there, we want to be adding to it as time goes on. So excellent question. And that's something that we want your continued feedback with. Chris says, I feel like I hit the jackpot becoming a member with you. Great. That makes us feel good. We want you to feel like you hit the jackpot. We want to just over-deliver for you guys. Karen says, what is a stale seed bed? Excellent question, Karen. And that's, again, one of the cool things about the calendar here, right? Because you see the stale seed bed, you click on it, it comes up, and it tells you exactly what it is and how to do it. Basically, I'll just read it here. A stale seed bed is a method that you can use to get a huge head start on weed pressure in your garden bed. And what you do is you prepare your bed ahead of time, all ready to plant into it. And then before planting your crop into it, you water it and encourage the first crop of weeds to grow. And then after about a week, as those weeds are sprouting, you come in and you kill off all of those weeds. And in killing off those weeds, you just killed off your first crop of weeds. And you can do that a couple times even. And then when you do come in and plant your actual crop in, you have drastically reduced the weed pressure in your garden area. So excellent question, Karen. Lucy says, can we work this with planting inside a hoop house? And absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up as well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you, for example, some of the fall plantings here. And you're going to notice that in the fall, some of these plantings go over into the frost zone. This is when you can be expecting a frost. Remember, we've got this frost listed here. So we've got, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, carrots. Now, the Brussels sprouts are going to be fine with some frost there. But your carrots, your cabbage, there's many more things that you can add to here that go down into your frost zones, even through the winter here. And anytime after your frost zone here is a time that you may want to consider covering your crops. And we've added some plantings in that are specifically late enough that people will often want to grow them inside of a hoop house or inside of a quick hoop or use some type of protection. So we really encourage you to, in order to get the maximum harvest with our later plantings, you're probably going to need to use some type of protection with our later plantings. Again, with some of the earliest plantings in the spring, like we were talking about earlier, like the beets, the very first planting of beets, those may need a little bit of protection. That's a great one to do inside of a hoop house. It's basically like the further you go back into your frost zone on either side, those are the times where you need to keep a lookout for either growing it inside a hoop house or giving it some type of protection. But absolutely, Lucy, that's a fantastic question.
Paul, I'd like to add just a little more there. Our thought was that, we, as Paul explained, we have the frost zone and we have a hard frost zone. Our thought was that we wanted to differentiate between those two things so that those who want to kind of dip into the frost zone on either end, in the spring or in the fall, can do that using only a very simple protection, basically a single row cover, or inside a hoop house with just a single layer of plastic. That you're growing on either end in the frost zone. You can do it just with that one layer of protection. If you want to go further and grow in the hard frost zone, then you should really plan on having at least 2 or maybe 3 layers of protection that you can use to cover with. And it gets a little more complicated because you can't leave those layers on. It's all explained. If you click on the hard frost zone, it's all explained there.
Exactly.
But that's another level of difficulty and intensity in watching over your plants. And so we just wanted to differentiate between those two things.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we've got a question here from Suzanne. She says, where's the feedback button? Great question, Suzanne. On any of the tasks, anywhere. You can click on any of them. I'll just randomly click here. It'll open one. And at the top, it has a give feedback section, a button that you can click right there. Or on the bottom left, there's some quick links here. And the very first quick link at the top is the give feedback one. So you'll always be able to give feedback there. Excellent question. All right, Wendell said, can I add a plant that's not on your list? We just covered that as well. All right, I see a lot of people are putting in their zip codes here in the chat. Unfortunately, I only have your names here. I don't think that, well, I might. What I need you to do is I need you to come, and I put a link in the chat there to go and enter your zip code for your garden, all right? You're going to enter your zip code and your membership email, so that way we can tie it to your membership. And I need you to go to that link and enter it in there. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to take your zip codes based in the chat here. Thanks so much for all of you for putting them in already, though. So I need you to put your zip code in the link that I posted in the chat there. And, I want to take a moment here just to pause. And there are 2 people that have just absolutely poured their lives and heart into these gardens that I really want to acknowledge. The first one here is my dad, and he has just absolutely put a ton of time into these calendars. And in fact, I want to show you guys here. Let me just switch, open up a screenshot. So this is a little bit of the back end right here. You see this? You see this spreadsheet here? And we've got all of these spreadsheets just filled with data and information for the different growing zones and the plantings and all of that. This is the back end of what ends up going inside those calendars. And I've just spent hours and hours with my dad on the phone. And Dad, I just want to say thank you so much. And just, I wish that everyone here could just, you could hear them clapping. We would do like a round of applause because Dad has just put in a ton of time into helping build out and going. And we've just gone step by step through each planting, looking at it and making sure that it's right. And so I just wanted to give a little shout out to you, Dad, and say thanks so much for all of the work that you have put into it. It's really made a huge difference. And then I also want to do a special shout out to my wife, Natasha, who has put in her blood, sweat, and tears into actually duplicating these calendars. So like you can see here, you see all of these calendars that I'm just clicking through right now. Each one of those, it takes a lot of work to duplicate them, to put all of the planting schedules into them, to move them based off of that location. And my wife, Natasha, has just, hey, hon, I just want to say thank you so much. She's sitting here right across from me. And I want to can you all give my wife in the chat a little round of applause as well? Because she has just really poured her life and heart into it. And I really appreciate it so, so much. It's made a huge world of a difference.
My appreciation to that too, because duplicating those calendars is very tedious work, but it's, sometimes tedious work can be mindless. This is, you can't be mindless on this, because you've got to be on your toes and be examining everything you do. You can't change one crop without being careful with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't just transfer directly. So she's done a lot of very hard work.
Incredibly. I mean, we're talking hours and hours working together. Hey, I'm just going to jump back on with my webcam here. So, hey, once again, everyone, listen, I'm going to, again, put that link to put in your zip code. Get set up with your own calendar here. I'm posting it in the chat there. Click that link and go over. In fact, I'm going to create an offer and put it up for you. I'm going to call it calendar setup. Calendar setup. And going to the link there. Set up your calendar. Publish. All right, so you'll see a little pop-up with the link to set up your calendar. So you're going to click that, and it's going to go over, and you're going to put in your zip code. And I need you to do it there on that page. Unfortunately, I can't take your zip codes from the chat room here. But I'll send the link out by email as well for all of you. All right, any other questions specifically on the calendars? I know we've been going for a while. It's a lot of meat to take in. It's super exciting. I just sense the palpitation of excitement from all of you inside the chat room, and just appreciate all of your encouraging comments and for all of your encouragement and the excitement that you're exuding as well, because it really makes all the difference for us. I mean, we put these together for you. Like this is our hearts coming out to help you guys in your gardens. Let's see. Chris says what Javier said. There's so much happening in the chat room. I'm not sure what he said, so maybe you could copy it and repeat it in there.
I think that was the question about adding more plantings.
Okay, yeah. So unfortunately, we don't have a way for you to add more plantings in or other crops at this time. We are going to be putting out a list of crops that we could potentially put in, so you can vote on ones that will be added in the future. Oh, I see. Chris says, no, it was the thumbs up and clapping. Great.
Okay.
Fantastic. All right. Marcia says, need to click in after the webinar though, right? if you click, it should open in a new window, but you can wait until the webinar is over, Marcia. That's fine too. Suzanne says, remind us how to see this video again. So Suzanne, we are posting, this video is recorded and we post it inside the members area in, when you log in, there's a link in the top menu that says webinars and live meetings. And if you go to the Garden Launch live meetings, then it has a list of all of the recordings. But tell you what, I'll make it simple. I'll be sending out an email afterwards with a link back to exactly where you need to come to watch this again. So just keep your eye on your email and you'll see that link come through. All right. Hey, everyone. If there's not any other questions, I think that, I mean, this has been a full evening and it's been super, super exciting. I don't see any other questions specifically on the calendars. There was one question that came in from Suzanne that we should touch on real quickly, Dad, before we close out. And that is, do you give non-toxic ways to kill weeds? Suzanne, that's excellent. Oh, maybe you're even talking about that in connection with the gardening calendar. In the cultivate section, we tell you exactly how to deal with weeds super efficiently, super effectively. And it links back to training and videos in the membership showing you non-toxic ways to deal with your weeds, to keep your garden weed-free in literally just minutes a week. Yeah, so absolutely. We go through that in depth as well.
And I might say we do not teach you any toxic ways to do it.
Yeah, we don't teach any toxic ways to do it. All right. Absolutely. So, hey, thank you all for being on here, for jumping on with us and just joining in this awesome, exciting time together as we launch these gardening calendars, which are, you know, the biggest update since we began. It's going to really take all of our gardens, I believe, to the next level. Oh, we've got one more question that just snuck in here. I know, we're super excited to try it ourselves. It says, are all your favorite veggies from Johnny's Seeds, Gene says. And no, actually they're not. We have some from Johnny's. We have some from High Mowing. Dad, we have some from, what, Territorial or Southern Exposure, I think.
Southern Exposure.
Yeah, Southern Exposure.
And, you know, when we mention a variety name, often that same variety is available from other seed companies. So you can look that way. And, you know, don't feel shy about trying something that we haven't mentioned as well. Just because we haven't mentioned it doesn't mean it's not a good one. Yeah. We've just mentioned things that we've tried, and you know, we haven't tried everything.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, Joy is mentioning here Baker Creek seeds. Yeah, Joy, those are absolutely excellent seeds as well. Fantastic. Great to see you on here, Joy. Joy also works over, Dad has worked with Joy over in Africa on projects with helping local farmers in Africa get up. So it's great to see you on here, Joy.
Yes. Fedco is another good seed source.
All right. Fantastic. All right, everyone. Well, I think that is the, oh, we've got one more question just snuck in as well. I was just going to wrap up. Judy says, I'm in Texas part of the year and Iowa part of the year. Can I change the calendar between the two zones? So Judy, if you want to garden between those two zones, what we could end up doing is we could give you a calendar for one and a calendar for the other, and then you could log into each one.
You think that would be the best, yeah.
And grow between them, yeah. Otherwise, it would be too much to, I mean, there's not the functionality to change it within the same calendar, but you'd be able to have your two garden plans based off of those two zones. So fantastic. Hey, everyone, if you have any other questions, feel free to shoot us an email. Like I said, I know that we've got lots. We've gotten through a lot today. It's like a lot. It's like a fire hose just to take this all in. can't wait to be giving you your calendars and for you to start working on setting them up. And then, from there, we'll be here to hold your hand because we want to work with you as you've got questions along the way. Carol says, do we wait for you to contact us with the link for our zip code? Again, I'll put it in here into the chat, but I will send it out by email as well. Enter your zip code here. So once again, in the chat, there's a link that you can click. It will open up another page where you can enter your zip code. Otherwise, I'll send that same link out by email. Hey, everyone. I'm so glad that you're on. So glad that you're on here. Suzanne says, where's the email for questions? Any of the emails, like the email reminders for this live meeting itself, you can just reply to them and put your question in. My email is paul@borntogrow.net. paul@borntogrow.net. Fantastic. Hey, Dad, anything else that we should add before we wrap it up here?
I don't think of anything right off. I think we're just excited to have this out there.
Yeah, we're just super excited to have this out there. We don't know, we don't know of anyone else that's doing something similar to this. This is like, this is, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. It just makes, I think it's really going to make gardening ridiculously easy to be able to just plan it so quickly and then have it just right at your fingertips, know exactly what to do, got those reminders, you're going to be all set. So, hey, so glad that you all joined us. The interaction in the chat room has just been fantastic. Really appreciate all your feedback, all of your excitement about it. We're excited about it too. And hope that you guys have a great evening. Can't wait to come back next month and see what you guys have done with the calendars. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Keep in touch, and we'll see you next month. Have a good night. Bye-bye.